Hello everyone. Let's start from the very beginning. So this is the climate literacy lab. So you will be going to lab 9, recent climate variability and change, part 1. Just keep that in mind. You are working on part 1. Part 2 will be on lab 10. Okay. So as usual, you will be given how many time? Okay. There's a
Hello,
4 minute
class.
9 seconds video. Will be given an introduction about this topic. So this video is really important. Some of the things that you might not understand from my presentation will be answered in here. So it's all about the accumulation of the whole idea. So usually you don't even need my tutorial videos to answer these lab questions. Usually these videos and the description in the lab is really enough for you to answer all those questions. So my video is kind of working as an extra element for you if in case if you face into run into any difficulties. So let's start from section 2. The section 1 is as usual description of the lab and other research questions, question types, fact based, synthesis based, hypothesis based. So our work will start from section 2. So and section 2 is talking about the weather, what is climate, and these types of things. And then it will in this image here, this is a Google Earth file. If you click on that, a Google Earth file will download automatically, and that will give you, let me show you first. So this is downloading the Google Earth here. So you need to just open the downloaded file. So if you open that, okay, if you open that, you can see different colors here, right? So these are the different colors. These are the biomes. These are the biomes I have been talking to you about. So these are the biomes. So these are the color, different colors. So if you look at the plant is here, light green. So the classification is in the bottom. So light green is CFA, right? So that matches with CFA. What is CFA? For that to know, you need to go to the next image here. So this is the classification name, Copen Geiger climate types that I've showed you in the presentation file. So what is CFA? CFA means humid subtropical. So there is one answer for one of your question. So Atlanta falls in the humid subtropical region. What is humid subtropical region? The region that has no dry season. So if you look at Atlanta's, like if you're living in Atlanta, you already know that Atlanta doesn't have, like Georgia in general doesn't have dry season. There might be high temperature, but you don't see completely dry something like a whole year. You can see vegetation, as well as even if it is during the summertime, the temperature might be high, but it's not that high that you get to see uh, completely dry situation, like it's humid out there. So that's what CFA is, and there's all other name. The AF, so CFA light green, CFA means the humid subtropical, and then there's different types of biomes here. Like if you would go to the like AF, AM, AW, the bluish, those will be talking about tropical region. B is talking about those desert types situations, steep type situation. Then C is the C is actually talking about the different types. So you see the color grading. So the color grading is similar color has almost similar temperature, similar biome types. So then if you look at the D, it's actually dry. So same color grading, and then another color grading. So in the end you will get to know about the ET means tundra, EF means ice cap. So in my presentation I showed you something about the this color. You see the gray color, that is in the polar region, that is ET, that is probably tundra, or like that might fall in the tundra, or like, even if you look at this Google Earth file here, you can see this one. If you look at here, you can see this one. This actually falls in the tundra or ice cap region. So EF, it might fall either in ET or EF. So you need to know distinguish between those colors. So let's go to the question one. Assuming you are a student at Georgia State University, what is the climate type of Atlanta, Georgia? You already know the answers. I already told you in here. Then, so there is the description about the thing that I've been talking about. The tropical A type climate is the tropical climate. A climate is the tropical climate. The B climate is the arid climate. Huh? Then the C climate is the subtropical humid type climate. So, and another important piece of it, there is a both climate type and biome named tundra. So tundra is a name of a climate type, as tundra is also a name of a biome. So that's a really interesting piece of information. But almost always equator of tundra are the DFC and climate type and the boreal forest biome. Okay, so almost always equator tundra or DFC humid continental. So what is DFC? You can see DFC humid continental. So and another one is, sorry, DFC climate type cool summer. So like tundra, like just keep that in mind. Probably there's not that specific question about tundra, but just that's good to know that there is both a climate type as well as a biome named as tundra. So the question two is asking you, how does the temperature range generally change when moving from equator to the Arctic cycle? What is the primary cause of this change? So for that to answer, you need to go through the climographs. So I've tried this image, this Google Earth file. Uh, okay. Oh yeah. Now it's working. Before it didn't work before. Okay. So climograph is showing these points on the Earth. There's probably 20 to 30 points. There's description. So you can get to see those things here. So what is the question? Let me see. So open Google for the 20 cities in the western hemisphere extending from 3 degrees south to 71 degrees north. It may okay, okay, okay. If it doesn't load here, so for your information, sometimes that this Google Earth file doesn't load. So if it doesn't load here, you can go through this here from directly from here. Just you need to analyze this graph. uh, like this graph has information about Atlanta, Barrow in Alaska, Belize City in Belize, Boise in Idaho, I guess. ID means Idaho, I guess. Then Fairbanks in Alaska, Iquitos and Peru, Dallas, Texas. So uh, if that doesn't work in your end, if like in here I can click on that and that will show me this point will show me this. If you click on Winnipeg, now you see it is showing you temperature and precipitation. The precipitation in the blue one and the temperature is the red one. So if that doesn't open, that doesn't load in your PC, just all you need to do is to click here. That will take you here and you can answer based on those questions. And the maps of biomes is here again. So this is the biome map. So the tropical, subtropical, based on the color code, you need to answer. So this question 2, 3, and 4. Question 2, 3, and 4 are based on these two links. One links in here and one links in here. Okay, so these two pages will answer question 2, 3, and 4. So let me do one for you, and then you will be able to do another rest of this too. How does the temperature range generally change when moving from the equator to the Arctic Circle? What is the primary cause of this change? So in here, the idea is that, so since my Google Earth is working here, so I can, what I can do, uh, I can analyze a city in the equatorial region, like the Belize city. I can take Belize city as an example, for the equatorial region, equator, and then I will take another one far, almost at the close proximity to the Arctic region. I can take either Fairbanks, I can take Barrow. So if that doesn't work in your end, you can just study Belize city from this description. You can find Belize. Where is the Belize? Here's the Belize city. Then just study the Belize city, look at the precipitation, look at the temperature. Then, since I've been talking about Fairbanks, so there is a Fairbanks data. So answer based on these two, if the Google Earth file doesn't open for you. So the Belize city is in the equator, and Fairbanks is in the almost in the polar region or in the Arctic region. So you can get the trend. So if you look at the Belize city, what's happening, let's see. Okay, so Belize city, if you look at there, the temperature and the red, you see the temperature variability isn't that high. So it started in 24 in January. At its peak it went up to 27, really low differential in terms of temperature. But if you look at the temperature in Fairbanks, now you see in January it is minus 24, then during July it is almost 18. So huge difference in terms of temperature. So this is what you need to identify, you need to talk about. If you've selected Belize and Fairbanks, you can do that, or either or you can in fact go to the Ciudad Bolivar, Venezuela. You can compare Venezuela with another one is Barrow or whatever it is. So it's totally up to you. You just need to talk about the trend. So I have shown you how to analyze the temperature. Then you can look at the precipitation as well with the blue line, how the precipitation is changing. Is it high or low? How in some, how much is that? Is it in the higher region or the lower region? If you look, compare it with the Fairbanks, the precipitation is really low. So we already know that the equatorial region has higher precipitation compared to the polar region, right? Because of those tropical situation, because of the vegetation, because of the solar radiation, and lots of other things. You've already studied those things in the previous labs, so you need to talk about them in details in here. Then the question tree is asking us to see that Bolivar, Belize City, Mexico City, Winnipeg, Fairbanks, Barrow. Just talk about them. Just go through the either, if this one works in your PC, totally fine. If that doesn't work, you still have no problem, because you have the whole things in one page given. So just go through those cities named here and answer the question. And then again there is question about Los Angeles, San Francisco, Vancouver. So answer those questions as well. So then the next, for the question 5, you will be given two animation. One is about the discussion about the ITCZ, intertropical convergence zone, and the mid latitude web cyclone. So this one is this ITCZ mid level injection. Okay, so if you look at this graph, this animation, you can see that how that wave actually moves. So that we've been talking about the mid latitude wave cyclone. You can click on that and see what is that actually follow the description here, as well as ITCZ. If you forgot the idea from the previous lab, just and follow through the description, you'll get to know about them as well. So if you look at these website clone, you can see the white is the cloud cover and the orange one moving here, that is the precipitation. So the cloud cover is really high in the equatorial region, right? And the precipitation, if you look at the precipitation, there is some precipitation here, you see around Atlanta. You can see some precipitation gathering here around Atlanta. So that's the idea. So you see the precipitation is moving this direction, and there's some other precipitation here in the orange region. So just look at those things, and there's, let me widen it a little bit. So there's the time, April 7, and look at the year date on like which monthly situation. Now this is about June. So what is happening during June, what is happening during September? So there will be some question regarding that as well. Then there is the subtropical high pressure cells that is showing you some animation. The blue region is, you see, moving up and down. Blue region is the rainfall, so rainfall is moving up and down in some particular months. So what is happening, you need to answer that as well. So what feature brings a lots of rainfall to the Caribbean in the summer, and what features are more likely to traverse across the Canada in the summer and produce rainfall? So where is the Caribbean region? If that is like, just the idea is that any region that falls in the equatorial periphery is actually having to do more with the ITCZ, and any region that is far from the equatorial region, uh, compared relatively in the polar uh, difference, polar region, will be more likely to have effect of the second options here, the mid latitude web cyclone. So these are the idea. Just answer your question based on those things. Then the question section 3 will be giving you some direct variability, that we've been talking about, the El Nino, La Nina. So there's some Mount Pinatubo eruption in 1991, Pinatubo eruption. So why that happened, why Mount Pinatubo eruption actually caused the cooling down of the temperature. So what is the sulfur dioxide impact on those volcanic eruptions? So just follow those description, you'll get to know some of the information. And then this is the one I discussed in the presentation, the El Nino, the cooling, the, what is that, warming of the temperature in the Pacific region. La Nina, the cooling of the temperature in the Pacific region. So then there is some graph to talk about. So if you look at this graph in the Atlanta region from 1948 to 2009, so you can see there's some spike in some particular year. In 1968, high spike of temperature, probably 1967 I guess, but 1966 was really low and 1967 really high in terms of precipitation. Why that happened? So that might be some of the things that you need to answer. Then again, if you look at these time region, 1993 I guess was really low. Then immediately in the next year, 1994 was really high. Why was that? Definitely that was something to do with the uh, abrupt climatic situations such as volcanic eruptions. So go through those description again and again. And then question 7 will be asking you, based on the climographs for the near present situation, what do you think was the climate type and the biome for the location of Atlanta 21,000 years ago? So just go through the description information again and again, and there's an information really important. We have already witnessed a dramatic example of climate change that occurred over thousands of years when you saw a major increase in temperature of approximately 8 degrees Celsius from the last glacial maximum 20,000 years 21,000 years ago. So we can say that, uh, I'm just gonna give you the answer of this question. Uh, so that you don't get stuck on this question at least. So what it says it is that there is a temperature increase of 8 degrees Celsius compared to 21,000 years ago. So in case of Atlanta as well, the temperature was relatively 21,000 years ago. The temperature was 8 degrees Celsius lower. Now it is 8 degrees Celsius higher in Atlanta, right? So if you look at this climate graph again, if you look at, let me go through that figure. Yeah, I'm not sure if we have. Yeah, we have Atlanta data here. So 21,000 years ago, if you compare 21,000 years ago, that means the temperature was 8 degrees Celsius lower, right? So if you look at the temperature, it is now 6. If it is 8 degrees Celsius lower, that means it would be around -3 to -6. So that means if it is -3 to -6, let me see which other region matches that temperature. So probably 21,000 years ago, the temperature of Atlanta was similar to this one. It is -3, or you can go even more than that. Yeah, you can see this is Columbus, Ohio, USA. So temperature was almost close, similar to 21,000 years ago. The temperature of Atlanta was similar to Columbus, or you can say that was similar to almost Boise, or probably Ottawa, almost similar, or Omaha, or not this one, -3. So this is just a brief idea. So Spokane. So let's see where Ottawa. Sorry, what did we identify? Columbus, right? Where Columbus stands in terms of, or where Boise stands in terms of the biome, or what is the Köppen classification? Yeah, in terms of Köppen classification. So if you go through this here, I'm gonna untick this. Uh, so boys, okay, so this is boys, right? So this is here, this is boys. Now we'll get to see the color, and then we'll see the climate type. So I'm gonna tick that again. So boys was, oh my god, this is confusing, right? Or Omaha, we can at least go to Omaha because there's different colors, so I might not be able to figure out the color region. But for Omaha, because I we have already seen that Omaha has almost similar temperature. Like if at Atlanta 21,000 years ago, the temperature of Atlanta is now matches with the Omaha, current Omaha. So Omaha is in the light bluish region, right? So I believe this is light blue. This is called light blue. So let's see what is the name of that, this color in the bottom. Light blue. Yeah. So that is DFA. So what is the name of DFA? So DFA, the light blue DFA means, where's DFA? Okay, humid continental. So that might, like with hot summer. So it was, right now it is humid subtropical, but probably 21,000 years ago it was humid continental or something like that. So you need to know what is humid continental and talk about that in your answers. So why would you assume that Atlanta would have received much less space? Then just answer. If you get to know this, if you discuss about, if you research about that, you will know what was the reason for that to happen. And for 21,000 years ago, so question 7 and 8 really are on the same discussion. Then now from section 4, probably section 4, 5 and 6 will actually take you to discuss something related to Microsoft Excel. So surface temperature. So if you click on the surface temperature, I'm not going to go into the description, you just need to follow that. I'm just letting you, showing you how to work on those things. So first of all, download it, and if you open it, open them, enable editing. So the instruction is already there. This is the instruction, this is the instruction. I'm just showing you how I worked, how you need to do. So all I need to do is to click on one A and B, and then select all the cells from start to the end. Then insert, click on the line graph and 2D line. So this is the graph that will come here. So then I'll need to click on the blue line and right mouse click and click on the add trend line. So you see this is showing me a trend line. So based on the trend line, the dot line is the trend line. Based on the trend line, we can see some years are higher than the trend line, some years are really lower than the trend line. So these are the things, but the overall the trend line is going upward. So you can say, talk about the general trend. What was the general trend in surface temperature from 1979 to the present? And question 10 is a hypothesis question, answered based on your understanding. And then what phenomenon caused the anomalously warm years listed above? So there are some years listed above here, there's some years listed above here. So just go to Google it, what happened during those years, and why that actually, why those years have really high and low temperature based on the compared to the trend line. So you need to answer that as well. Then there's some graph about the lower temperature. I guess this is also graph. Okay, so you need to uh, go through the description. I'm not going to go through them as well again. So there is the comparison between surface temperature and lower troposphere, the red and the blue, yellowish. So they have almost similar trend, but sometimes lower troposphere had sometimes surpassed the surface temperature because in the 1998 because of the El Nino effect, and then there is 2008 because of the La Nina effect. The lower troposphere had significantly lower temperature compared to the surface temperature. Other than these two events, usually the temperature trend is pretty much similar. And then there comes the surface and middle troposphere. We need to compare them again. Follow the instruction here, then answer based on those, the graph that you get. Okay, so you see how it shows up. Insert line, 2D line. Okay, so now it's showing you a graph comparison. Like this is a comparison between the surface temperature, the blue line, and the middle troposphere. So there was some year when there was some significant difference here again. So just go through the graph and answer some questions based on that. Question 12. Then again, this is about the surface and middle troposphere. Then there's another surface and lower stratosphere. Click on that and just do what it says. Surface and lower stratosphere. Enable editing. So you need to select all three in there here, again in there, then insert line, 2D line. So this is showing you the trend of surface temperature, the blue line, with the lower stratosphere. So lower stratosphere had really, these two had really different variability in the temperature. So you need to answer those things as well in the question 13, 14. Hmm, just follow the description. We will be able to answer question 15 as well. So then there comes the question of radiative forcing. Then there is a graph, diagram about the radiative forcing. So the next question is asking you, based on your inspection of the radiative forcing in the graphic above, what forcing agents? Question is asking about the forcing agents. So this is the radiative forcing of carbon dioxide, other greenhouse gases, or something like that. Then land use, control include. The question is not asking you about the radiative forcing of specific content, it is asking about the forcing agents. So this is the well mixed greenhouse gases consist of carbon dioxide and other these types of the whitish region. The forcing agent, you need to answer the forcing agents. Then this is the ozone, this another forcing agent. This is stratospheric water vapor from methane. There is another forcing agent. Surface albedo is another forcing agent. So the question is, what forcing agent has the most responsibility for global warming over the past several decades? So answer based on your graph analysis. Answer the question about the forcing agent. So answer the name from here. Then there comes. Let me see if I need to tell you anything about them here. If there's anything specific. Okay, 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 okay. Then question 17, 18 is about these three figure. So first diagram is actually show you the showing you the Earth's energy imbalance. So Earth's energy imbalance is zero point 0.6. What does that mean? There is a description about it. So zero point 0.6, which means that less energy exists, not exists. This is a printing mistake. There is exist. I'm sorry, exits, then enters the top of the atmosphere. So, if 100, like for an example, so if 100 point of energy enters into the atmosphere, 99.4 actually exits, but zero point 0.6 stays there. So that is the imbalance, which these energy actually increase in temperature in here. As a result, we can see the global warming. Then if we go to the next one, you can see energy accumulation in the components from Earth's climate system relative to 1971. So compared to that, so if you look at the temperature change energy, so you can see the land actually absorbed pretty much similar energy over these 30 years, 40 years. Then atmosphere also absorbs similar types of energy. The white means the ice absorbs similar types of energy. But if you look at the deep ocean's energy diagram has went really high. That means most of those imbalance, most of this extra energy is actually absorbed in the deep ocean as well as in the upper ocean. So because of those extra energy, ocean is actually absorbing most of them. As a reason, you always hear in the news that the because of the global warming, the sea level is rising because of this temperature. Most of those energy is actually consumed in the ocean. So this is the graph that is talking about that. And even if in this here, you can see that the red one is actually red line, reddish. Most of the reddish region are in this region in the ocean, the highest one temperature trend in the ocean. That this is the Atlantic Ocean, and this is the Pacific Ocean, I guess. Yeah, so these are the region that has uh, what I can say, that is being taking those energy. That's why this is really high on rate. So most of those things are in the northern hemisphere. So there is a key point to know to answer one of your question. Answer those questions here. Then there is a trend in specific humidity. Go through this again, answer the question. And then question 20 will be asking you a generic question. Let me see. So this graph is talking about the southern hemisphere and northern hemisphere annual temperature anomalies. What happened in the northern hemisphere, the red one. What happened in the southern hemisphere, the blue one. Just go through this. And then there is another Microsoft Excel in here. You just need to make the graph again as usual, the way we did in the previous one as well. So that Microsoft graph is Excel graph is actually talking about three regions: the 90-degree N to 64, high latitude, mid latitude, and the lower latitude region. So all you need to do is to make a graph about them, and then insert line diagram line. So the green is about the lower latitude, and the red is mid latitude and the blue is the high latitude. So if you look at the this one is actually temperature anomaly. So if you look at the temperature trend, you can see the blue one is actually experienced the higher temperature. That means blue is in the 90-degree N to 64-degree N. That means high latitude zone. So that will answer this question 21. So then answer question 20 based on your own discretion. Question 20 based on your own discretion. So then there is another graph, so that will ask you to identify some of the parts of the world that has experienced higher temperature. So just follow through these two diagram and see where did the red, because you see the red is the highest temperature increase. So identify this part of the world, this part of the world in here as well, this part of the world in here as well. So just answer the question based on this trend, the reddish trend, question 23 and 24. Then after you finish all of those things, you will be able to answer these three research questions. So that's pretty much this lab is about. It's lots of work for you. I just tried to give you like, don't forget to watch those videos, animations, and everything. So I didn't go through every description because that would make it really a long tutorial video, which is not the purpose of this video. I'm just trying to give you a really brief idea about how to approach these questions. So in fact, in my presentation, I probably gave you some direct answers about some of the questions, but definitely I would recommend you to watch everything. And if you've come to this far, I'm sure your marks, your grade will be better compared to the other people who didn't watch this video or didn't need like were lackluster to do to put some extra effort in here. So this is the third last lab. So this is lab 9. So after this lab, we will have two more labs, lab 10 and 11. So with those two more labs, we will wrap this lab class. So let me know if you have any difficulties understanding any concept. Email me, attend my office hour. I will wait. I will really appreciate your question. All the best. Thank you.